Greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every weekend, same time, same station. You can join us over the weekend for our presentation on health and nutrition and what you can do to make your life better, a higher quality of life, a better quality of lifestyle, better diet, better health, better overall. I always tell you that there is no one too old to change if you want to. It's all a matter of choice. We have choices. And that's what makes a difference in health or an unhealthy condition. We can select the right principles for good health. Plenty of sleep. That means 7 to 9 hours of sleep. A healthy diet. That means plenty of fruits and vegetables. Healthy fats. And my premier fat that I highly recommend is olive oil. I wish everybody who is interested in health would take olive oil every day. Not just drizzling on your salad or dipping bread in it, but taking olive oil off the spoon first thing in the morning, preferably on an empty stomach. And then 15 or 20 minutes later, you can have breakfast. I have studied olive oil extensively. I've written a book on olive oil. I've read dozens of books on olive oil. There is nothing greater to change your health than olive oil. Now, many experts point out that the Mediterranean diet is a diet of health. Those people in the countries that are the Mediterranean countries have less heart disease, less heart attacks, less high blood pressure, less cancer, less all diseases, because they eat a diet that is high in polyphenols that are found in fruits and vegetables and olive oil, and a good source of protein. In the Mediterranean countries, it's primarily fish. And you can make fish part of your diet, and you should. At least 2 servings a week of cold water fish, sardines, salmon, all good sources. And very low sugar, well, I should say no sugar, and lower your carbohydrates. And especially because almost all the carbohydrates in the United States are refined and processed. They're void of any nutrients. And then they sprinkle back a few synthetic vitamins in the flour and call it enriched. If somebody clobbered you over the head on the street someplace and took all your money and then threw a dollar back to you, would that enrich you? Well, that's what they do to flour. They take out all the nutrients, take out all the bran and fiber, and then they throw back a few little synthetic vitamins that don't hardly meet the recommended daily allowance. Our diet is atrocious. Our diet is killing America. And if you're willing to make some sacrifices to change your diet and start eating a healthy diet, you can make a huge change. I've read thousands of studies on olive oil. I don't read word for word. I read the abstracts, I read the conclusion, I read the discussion, and that tells me what the experts have found in a study on olive oil and olive leaf extract. All of these conditions can dramatically decrease in the American diet if we change the American diet and add olive oil and wine. Wine is another good source. Red wine is another good source of polyphenols, another good source of nutrition. 1 or 2 glasses daily. If you don't drink, you don't have to start drinking. But if you like wine, make part of it your diet every day. And olive oil every morning. At least 2 tablespoons daily. Most of the Mediterranean countries, the citizens of those countries, are consuming about 4 tablespoons daily, a quarter of a cup. Some much higher. They consider it a medicine. It's the oldest medicine in the world. And it makes such changes that's unbelievable. If that's all you had to do was swallow 2 tablespoons of olive oil daily to dramatically decrease heart disease, high blood pressure, heart attacks, type 2 diabetes, and cancer. That's what the summary is of all those studies that are available on olive oil and olive leaf extract. And plus, strengthening and boosting your immune system, antiviral, antibacterial. Olive oil is one thing you do not want to miss. We can make changes, no matter how old you are, what condition you're fighting, that you're challenged with. Don't give up hope. Give up your junk food and make the switch to a healthy diet. And just a handful of nuts a day. That's about a quarter of a cup of nuts can reduce heart disease by up to 50%. We have the medicine to be healthy. And it's not in pills. It's not drugs. It's not a prescription. Change the food you're eating. Change the lifestyle you're living. Make better choices. You can do it. And I've talked to people that have done it. And they're amazed that within 3 to 6 months, they have a new lease on life. They feel better. They have more energy. They don't have all the cold and flu, and they have a higher strengthening immune system. They're all better off. It might take some sacrificing. Yeah, you're going to have to give up that junk stuff. You're going to have to give up all those desserts. You're going to have to give up all the sugar. There's nothing worse for us than sugar. And we're eating a ton of it. Well, I'm not going to say a ton, but I mean by a ton, a lot. That's like about 200 and 250 pounds of sugar per year, per individual. Soft drinks. There's nothing worse than sugary soft drinks, usually with high fructose corn syrup. Our diet is a mess today in America. They predict by the year 2050, only about 25 years off, everyone in America, if we continue on the same trend as we are now, everybody in America will be obese. Just look what happened from the 1970s to now. We didn't have obesity in the 1970s. It was unheard of. Now even 18% of children are obese. The majority of the children under 5 are grossly overweight. That's not a strengthening America. That's not creating a strong America. It's not only for our own health, but it's the health of our country. So today, I have a lot of topics to talk about today. So we're going to talk about low back pain. Everyone will experience low back pain sometime in their lifetime. And then we're going to take a closer look at the mitochondria. We'll talk more about that when we get to that section. And then again, we're going to talk about long COVID. It's not going to go away. when we've had infection based on COVID-19. The infection has cleared up, but it has left us with side effects. That is called long COVID because it has lingered on long after the infection. And sugar again. It'll never, ever be out of the news. How sugar affects your mental health. How it affects your brain. There's no reason to ever consume sugar. And don't switch to artificial sweeteners because they're worse. Stop the sugar craze. Then we're going to talk about why women are affected with digestive issues. Very common for women. And then, have you heard of the herb called Bacopa? B like in boy, A-C-O-P like Peter, A. Bacopa. I'll explain what Bacopa is. And should you buy your vitamins online? Only with one stipulation. You can. But we'll tell you why you should not. And then turn off the lights at night. You can't sleep with lights on. Your children can't sleep with night lights on. Not for their health. So we want you to have the best health possible. So we're going to help you understand more about your health. And we're going to start with low back pain. What doesn't work for back pain? And that is surgery. Surgery is not the answer for back pain. Never will be, never was. And what doctors most often recommend for back pain: decreased physical activity and rest. Surgery and or steroid injections. So what doesn't work for back pain? Both rest and surgery do not work for back pain. Researchers compared medical records for 1,400 people with diagnosis of disc degeneration or disc herniation. Half received surgery to fuse the vertebrae. Half had no surgery. So we're comparing two groups of people, one with surgery, one with no surgery. And the results of this study, after 2 years, only 26% of the surgical group had returned to work, versus 67% returned to work that did not have surgery. Surgery is not the answer. And I always roll my eyes because it takes about 3 surgeries on the back for some people to wake up and realize that is not the course to take. And the surgical group also had a 41% increase in the use of painkillers, opiates. There are 8 times as many spinal fusion surgeries today as there was 15 years ago. 8 times more of the spinal fusion surgeries than over the last 15 years. Now, there are some herbal treatments that can help. One is white willow bark. It effectively relieves back pain. And in fact, as effective at relieving back pain as a prescription drug known as Vioxx. 60% of patients in each group. So they divided the group. One section of the group took white willow bark as a supplement to support their back. The other portion of the group took Vioxx. Now each group saw significant reductions in pain. So both were successful, effective. But Vioxx is no longer on the market because it killed so many people. Over 35,000 people died. So eventually the FDA could not ignore the deaths that were attributed to the use of Vioxx. So they banned Vioxx. And white willow bark is far less expensive and has significantly fewer adverse effects, much less. And those side effects are completely null and void after relieving white willow bark. Now here's another study I ran across. In a study of white willow bark versus other conventional drugs or treatments, 40% of the white willow bark, that group was pain-free in 4 weeks. While the other group, they were pain-free. There was 18% pain-free of the conventional treatment group after 4 weeks. 40% effective with the white willow group, 18% effective with the conventional treatment group. Why would you not choose white willow bark? Pain-free in 4 weeks. Another study, and I like to give you studies to show you that this is not something I think, it's not my opinion. I'm doing the research to find what I can convince you that has been studied with patients and the results they're getting in these studies. For example, here's another one. 191 patients received low or high dose white willow bark or a placebo. And you know a placebo is a fake pill. It has no active material, completely inert. So 191 patients received a low or high dose white willow bark or placebo for back pain. 60% of the patients getting white willow were pain-free in a month, while 6% of the placebo group became pain-free. Pain reduction for the white willow group was noticed within 7 days. So there's more to know about natural medicines to stop back pain. Another herb I ran across from South Africa called devil's claw. It's a root that grows primarily in Africa. Devil's claw can be made into a supplement. And 88 patients with low back pain received devil's claw or the prescription drug Vioxx. 30% more patients in the devil's claw group reported greater than 50% reduction in pain versus the drug group after 6 weeks. In another study, 118 patients with low back pain received devil's claw or a placebo. Now here's the number of patients pain-free after just 4 weeks 9 of the 51 in the Devil's Claw group were completely pain-free within 4 weeks, but only 1 of the 54 patients in the placebo group. Curcumin. In studies on curcumin and low back pain, subjects saw a 70% reduction in pain sensitivity by using curcumin that's blended with turmeric essential oils. The turmeric essential oils increases the absorption of curcumin. Curcumin is very difficult to be absorbed systemically. When it's in the intestinal tract, it has to have some ability to be able to penetrate the lining of the intestinal tract, enter the bloodstream, circulate throughout the body, and have an effect on the various pain receptors to have results. And there's up to 70% reduction in pain sensitivity when using a curcumin that is bound to turmeric essential oils. Boswellia, another herb that we have talked about many times. It comes from a tree in Africa. And it increases up to 12% in pain tolerance 2 hours after Boswellia use in healthy human volunteers. And then a very special form of amino acid, DLPA, prevents the breakdown of the brain's natural pain-killing compounds. There are receptor sites, pain receptor sites in the brain. And DLPA improves and desensitizes those pain receptors so you don't feel pain. Now, the ideal solution would be to find a formulation with Devil's Claw, curcumin, Boswellia, and DLPA, because now they work synergistically with each other. You have more strength in numbers. Sometimes an herb all by itself can have a huge benefit. Now, I've watched a lot of studies being done at City of Hope Hospital for cancer. And when they gave a cancer patient grapeseed extract, it reduces the size and the weight of the tumors. And then they try curcumin, and it has also a similar effect as the grapeseed extract. But these are both being used in the studies individually. Then they do a study with grapeseed extract and curcumin together, and then it just has a tremendous effect in reducing the weight and the size of the tumors. When you combine ingredients together, they work on a stronger ability on all the pathways. So they work on multiple pathways all simultaneously together. So it's like strengthening your army. Gives it more power and more ability to make a difference. Now, also when we are working with back pain, we are also involving ligaments and tendons. But the problem with ligaments and tendons, there's a very poor blood supply to the ligaments and tendons. So healing from injury can take months. Months. Like if you have golfer's shoulder or tennis elbow, because of the repetition. So constantly using one elbow, one shoulder, and you're constantly putting strain and stress on that one joint. So over time, you cause inflammation. You cause bursitis, another form of inflammation. But ligaments and tendons do not have a blood supply. And also, we're also discussing discs of the body, no blood supply, and lower cell density, area around the disc, can heal, but the process takes months. Don't give up. Don't take something for a week or two and say it doesn't work. If you want to deal with a bad back or tennis elbow or golfer's shoulder or any kind of ligaments and tendons, it's going to take 3 to 6 months at minimum. So recovering from a back injury can be a long, slow process. But be patient. And be a good patient. But be patient. And allow time to heal. It will. But time, T-I-M-E, is the best healer of all. You've got to give the nutrients, the nutrition, and then wait. And it will recover after a period of time, but not in a week or two. I know you're struggling. I know you're facing challenges. I know you'd like to get back to a healthy state of being. You'd like to get rid of that tennis elbow or that golfer's shoulder or that bad back or that low back pain. You will. But you've got to give it time to heal. But if you're using the right nutrients, it will heal. But that takes time. But after 6 months, if you don't do anything, you still have the same problem. So take the nutrition you need for the 6 months or the 3 months and allow it to heal with the right nutrition that we've just discussed. And you'll be remarkably rewarded for your patience. With that, my friends, I've got to pause. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving. My show is not over. But I've got to pause to allow some stations to identify itself and also for some commercials. So stay right where you are. I'll come back right here. Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally. Welcome back, my friends. This is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. As I've said before, we're here every weekend. Same time, same station. Join us over and over again. I am not going anywhere. I don't plan on going anywhere. I love what I do. I love sharing with you information. I don't make your choices. I wish I could make your choices. I would be pretty tough on you. I'm an ex-Marine, so I have a lot of discipline. I know what it takes. So I could, if I had you under my wing, I would make you much healthier. But then you'd probably feel like you were in jail. But you can do it on your own. You don't need me. I'm just giving you some ideas. Take these ideas and make them work for you. The strongest medicine in the world is food. Change your diet. Bring back into the diet healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, olive oil, wine, good quality protein, and no sugar. No sugary drinks, no juice, no fruit juice, and very low carbohydrates. And you will heal over time. Because the American diet is an is an inflammatory diet. It causes the inflammation based on vegetable oils or seed oils, tremendously high in omega-6 fatty acid, which are inflammatory. You know, if you slammed your finger in a car door, you will see inflammation in your finger or your thumb, whichever you slammed it on. It'll be hot to the touch. It'll be red. It'll be really sore. You'll have pain. It'll be swollen up. That's inflammation. Now, you're not going to do that over and over and over again. That would be dumb. Sticking your finger in the car door a second time, I would say you're dumb. But that's what the American diet is. We're eating an American diet that is an inflammatory diet. It causes the inflammation. Now, you had an injury when you put your finger in the car door. Now, after several weeks, that finger is going to be repaired. You're not going to do it again. And the American diet is an inflammatory diet. It causes inflammation. Vegetable oils, seed oils, carbohydrates, and sugar all cause inflammation. And we are doing it every day, month after month after month, year after year after year. Now we have chronic inflammation. You know, you can follow an anti-inflammatory diet and get rid of the inflammation, and you can really be in bad shape, but because you're eating an anti-inflammatory diet, you feel great, and you're starting to heal, and you feel better. That's what it's all about. So stop slamming your finger in the car door. And when I say that, you know what I mean. That means don't do the diet, the American diet, that's an inflammatory diet, over and over and over again. It's dumb. You won't have to have drugs. You won't have to even buy some supplements in some cases, because you got rid of the inflammation that's caused by the American diet. So stop the American diet and eat a diet of health which promotes anti-inflammatory conditions. Stop the inflammation. It's not just all about taking a pill to get rid of the inflammation. What caused the need for inflammation is what you should be looking at. Yeah, the finger in the car door caused the inflammation. Eating the American diet caused the inflammation. So don't take a pill to get rid of the inflammation. Don't take steroids to get rid of the inflammation. Stop doing what you're doing that caused the inflammation that was there to help heal. The American diet causes us to be so sick that we have chronic inflammation all the time because we're trying to heal all the time. We're doing the same, and you know, you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. It's not going to happen. You've got to make major changes to your diet. So we also have some really good stuff coming up. So lots more coming your way. And we're going to talk about a closer look at the mitochondria. What is the mitochondria? That's something that we need to explore more fully. What are mitochondria? All of our cells have within the cell an engine, like a car has an engine. And the mitochondria are the engines of the cell, the motor of the cell. They break down food molecules and turn them into energy to power the cells. Life is not even, you don't even have life. In fact, life is not possible without healthy mitochondria. But because of environmental and dietary choices can damage the mitochondria. And one of the most common conditions that destroys the mitochondria, based on clinical research, has shown that in people with obesity, the mitochondria inside the cells fail to burn energy sufficiently and efficiently. And they have a caloric overload and can trigger generic activity damaging the mitochondria. When you damage the mitochondria, you are damaging the entire body. After obesity, it's alcohol intake. Alcohol intake damages the mitochondria and repairs, I don't say repairs, impairs their function. The third on the list that damages the mitochondria, prescription drugs. Yes, what you're being prescribed to be healthy is prescription drugs, right? Many of you are on a number of drugs. You can get off those drugs by making changes in how you treat your mitochondria and how you change and make better choices for a better lifestyle, to improve your diet, your lifestyle choices of sleep, exercise, and all of the things that make a better, healthy quality of life. Now, when I say prescription drugs, I'm talking basically acetaminophen, otherwise known as Tylenol, NSAIDs, anti-steroidal anti-inflammatories, drug inflammation, drug to prevent inflammation, statin drugs, and more, of course. Can't list all the drugs that can damage the mitochondria. Even antibiotics have been shown to reduce the mitochondrial energy production in the cell by as much as 90%. Our whole lifestyle is killing Americans. Not they're all dropping over dead, but they have a lower quality of life. They are reducing the length of time they would be living in a quality of life. So this is what we need to do in order to strengthen and keeping our mitochondria healthy. We need to take a good quality multivitamin. And not just a one a day. A one a day tablet does not hold enough volume of vitamins and minerals to be able to supply you with all the vitamins and minerals we need on a daily basis. But also add higher B vitamins, which are particularly important. A recent study showed that niacin, vitamin B3, slowed the progression of mitochondrial disease. Pick a good quality multi or a B vitamin supplement, or both. I would use both. Antioxidants. We talked about antioxidants, preventing free radical damage. It protects every cell in our body. And it protects the mitochondria from free radical damage. One of the supplements that I particularly like, and research has shown that it works effectively as an antioxidant, is aronia berries. Aronia, aronia berries. It's the strongest, most healthiest, effective berry in the world. Better, 9-10 times better than blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, all of them. The only one that comes a little bit close to it is elderberry. But aronia berry tops the list. And it has been shown to reduce mitochondrial oxidative stress. The best thing to do is to take 200 milligrams of a combination of aronia and French grapeseed extract for its full antioxidant protection. Protects the damage to the cells. Once the cells are damaged, they're no longer effective, but it takes time to replace them. And as we keep killing off our cells, that is, the other process is called aging. Now, I know you don't want to live to be 120, and I don't think we ever will. I'm not sure about that, but I don't think we can. No one has, so we don't know. Maybe we'll all reach there someday. But everything that usually goes wrong in a very elderly person is now going wrong in younger people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s rather than 80 and 90s. Why? Because they're aging faster. Their body is getting older faster. Diseases that were once considered to be common in the 80 and 90-year-old elderly person now is common in children. Cancer in children. Another nutrient that I really like that is critical for the mitochondria is coenzyme CoQ10. CoQ10 is critical for the process of cellular energy and as an antioxidant. Its effects will definitely protect the mitochondria from free radical damage. Free radical damage is caused by drugs, chemicals, excessive alcohol, smoking, the environment, radiation, excessive sunburn. All the things that can damage the cell internally or externally is taking the life out of the body. I would suggest CoQ10 in a chewable form. And why do I like the chewable form? Because CoQ10 is difficult to be absorbed. And if you take a CoQ10 chewable that is combined with a substance, natural substance called gamma-cyclodextrin, it'll boost CoQ10 up to 18 times. 18 times. So 100 milligrams complex to gamma-cyclodextrin is 18 times better. So it's like equivalent to 1,800 milligrams, not 100 milligrams. Because absorption is the key to its effectiveness. If you can't absorb something into the bloodstream, how is it going to reach all the cells in the body? How is it going to be effective? It's not going to reach and provide the nutrition to the heart, to the liver, to the kidneys, whatever. We need to get it out of the intestinal tract into the bloodstream and circulate to all the cells in the body and renew all the cells. But if it can't get out of the intestinal tract, it reduces its effectiveness. And gamma-cyclodextrin increases the absorption of CoQ10 by as much as 18 times. It's a powerhouse. Now we're back to long COVID. Boy, we sure have problems with long COVID. And it has affected so many people. Quite amazing that it has affected so many people. Now, COVID infection definitely increases the risk of chronic fatigue. Many people, after they went through COVID-19, complained that they were spent. They had chronic fatigue. They were exhausted, tired. They could barely get through the day. Well, researchers followed more than 4,500 adults for about 11 months after they had COVID-19 infection, between February 2020 and February 2021. They were comparing the results with more than 9,000 adults who did not have COVID-19 infection. The result of this study versus people who had not had COVID-19 or COVID infection versus participants who had COVID infection. And those that had COVID infection were twice as likely to be hospitalized, were 4 times more likely to develop chronic fatigue, had about twice the risk of dying. But now there is a way to get back to a superior form of energy. Lyme disease and Epstein-Barr virus, like COVID infection, All three, Lyme disease, Epstein virus, the Epstein-Barr virus, COVID infection, can all trigger chronic fatigue, also called post-infection fatigue. No longer having a breakout of infection, but left with a body just spent, completely exhausted. In a study by chronic fatigue expert Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, 188 people with chronic fatigue syndrome were treated with a hydroponically grown red ginseng for 4 weeks. Of the 60% of the participants who saw improvements, the results were extremely significant. Now, this is a very rare form of red ginseng. It is grown hydroponically. Because ginseng, in order for it to be harvested at the right time, takes about 4 to 6 years to grow. And anybody who is growing ginseng, farming ginseng, wants to assure that they will have a crop to harvest after 4 to 6 years. And all ginseng, white or red, are susceptible to viruses, fungus, pests of all kinds. So it is constantly sprayed with pesticides several times per year for 4 to 6 years. The hydroponically red ginseng does not require the spraying of pesticides. It is grown in a sterile environment and fed nutrients that are efficient for growing red ginseng. Now, of the 60% of the subjects, participants of the study, who saw improvements, as I mentioned, the results were quite significant. 67% average boost in energy levels. 48% average increase in mental clarity. 46% average improvement in restful sleep. And 72% increase in stamina. Wow, think how you would feel if you could improve at these rates. And you can. These people are not special. These people are average people that had chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. But yet they responded dramatically with the use of red ginseng. Now, this is a very rare red ginseng that is hydroponically grown. And the dosage is 200 to 400 milligrams of red ginseng daily. The subject used a very specific extract of hydroponically grown red ginseng that is high in the rare noble gessenosides, up to 17 times, and 7 times more available based on the hydroponically method of growing red ginseng. No, sugar again. Sugar, sugar, sugar. There's nothing good about sugar. And yet, what makes people today, on an average, national average, every individual on a national average is consuming over 200 pounds of sugar per year. And it's written everywhere how bad sugar is. And now we have a study that shows that it affects your mental health. The link between diet and mental health. Do you think that what you eat can increase or decrease your risk of depression? Everybody goes on drugs. Everybody goes on an antidepressant. What about food? Could it be that simple? That what you eat can either increase or decrease your risk of depression? Well, researchers analyzed diet and the health data from over 18,000 adults collected over a 7-year period. They found that people with the highest daily intake of added sugars, I want to say this over. They found that the people that had the highest daily intake of added sugars were 33% more likely to develop depression than people with the lowest daily sugar intake. In addition to reducing sugar, getting more of these nutrients in your diet that can protect you from depression and other brain diseases. And what are these? Well, vitamin D for sure. D like dog. Vitamin D3. A clinical study found that getting over 400 IUs of vitamin D daily reduced the risk of depression by 20%. Protein versus carbohydrates. Studies have linked low protein levels, low protein levels, and high carbohydrate diets with increased risk of depression. Omega-3 fatty acids, found primarily in fish, sardines, salmon. A meta-analysis of 26 studies came to the conclusion, with over 2,000 participants, found that omega-3 supplementation significantly reduced the risk of depression. These are the 3 nutrients that have the biggest impact on your mental state, on your mental health. I think some people have such a horrible diet that we have so much chaos in America. Vitamin D, just by getting extra vitamin D daily in your diet, increasing your protein levels, decreasing your carbohydrates, and making sure you're getting plenty of omega-3. So, my friends, I'm almost out of time. Probably only about a minute and a half left before we leave the program. Not enough time to start another issue or a presentation to share with you. But you will get more every week. Just come back here, right here. Same time, same station. I'll always be here. And I hope you always are there too. You can always join me. And we'll share some of these very excellent and significant topics to help you understand how you can improve your health. You know, you don't have to have depression. You can have a bad mood. You can be ugly. You know, you can just be like blue. You just feel terrible. Especially during the winter months, where I am in Green Bay, Wisconsin. A lot of dreary sunshine, less days. And it can actually affect your mental state. But starting a good diet, like the ketogenic diet, high proteins, low carbohydrates, high fats, olive oil every day. Make sure you get it. I can't begin to impress enough on you to take olive oil. Read my book on olive oil. It'll change your life. Say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. Join us every weekend right here, same time, same station. God bless you, my friends, and God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.